It always begins the same way. She looks at you, not as you are, but as who she thinks you could become. You can feel it in her eyes, can't you? That spark. Maybe it's hope, maybe it's hunger. You think you're being seen, but you're not. You're being studied, analyzed, measured. You're not a man to her yet, you're a possibility. A blank canvas waiting for her to paint her masterpiece on. But that masterpiece? It's not you. It never was. Carl Jung warned us about this. Not with motivational fluff or comforting words, but with the precision of a man who spent his entire life staring into the human soul and documenting the madness inside it. Jung's life's work was to map the unconscious, that hidden part of your mind quietly shaping every thought, every choice, every relationship. And in his exploration, he uncovered something deeply unsettling about love, especially about how women love. Jung discovered that women don't just fall for men, they fall for ideas of men. They fall in love with projections, fantasies, versions they create in their own minds. And the scary part? Most don't even realize they're doing it. You might believe she's choosing you, but really, she's choosing the image of you she built in her imagination. You're a character in her movie, and when you stop fitting the script, she doesn't rewrite the story. She just replaces the actor. Jung called this phenomenon the Animus, the inner masculine image that lives inside every woman. And when that animus is immature, undeveloped, or unchecked, it turns tyrannical. It drives women to chase dangerous men while rejecting good ones. It fuels arguments without logic, dominance without wisdom, morality without accountability. He didn't sugarcoat it. He described it as a kind of spiritual possession. A woman overtaken by her inner masculine ideal becomes unaware that she's no longer acting from her true self, but from the shadowy grip of that fantasy. And men, we fall for it because nobody ever taught us to recognize it. You mistake being desired for being understood. You confuse being chosen for being known. You believe her when she says, "You're different." But you're not different. You're just the latest actor hired to play a role she's been rehearsing since she was a little girl. And when the illusion falls apart, when the mask slips, you're left feeling betrayed, humiliated, and lost, wondering what you did wrong. But you didn't do anything wrong. You just stopped being a convincing character in someone else's production. Jung said the only way to escape this psychological theater is through a process he called individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming whole within yourself. And here's the painful truth. Most men never start that journey. We've been conditioned to seek approval, to chase validation, to let women define our worth. And as long as we do, we'll keep replaying the same story, getting replaced the moment we stop entertaining the audience. Individuation isn't pretty. It's not glamorous. It's brutal. It forces you to face every part of yourself you've buried, the weak, the insecure, the broken. It demands that you stop blaming women for not seeing you and start seeing yourself. Because here's what Jung understood, and what most men will never realize. You don't become a man because someone chooses you. You become a man when you choose yourself. You don't earn your value through affection. You earn it by standing alone, fully awake, fully responsible, fully alive. A man who has faced his own unconscious can't be seduced by projection anymore. He's no longer a puppet in someone else's fantasy. He's the author of his own story. Jung once wrote that the tragedy of modern men isn't that they're rejected, but that they willingly reshape themselves into whatever they think will be accepted. We call it compromise. We call it partnership. We call it love. Jung called it self-betrayal. He warned that when a man ignores his own psychological growth, he becomes enslaved to the projections of women, bending himself like soft clay into whatever form they demand, even when they themselves don't know what they want. You stop being a man, and you start being a mask. You nod, agree, perform, until you can't even remember who you were before you put the mask on. And here's the cruel irony. Women can sense it, more than you'll ever know. The very things you think will make her love you Obedience, predictability, availability are the same things that make her lose attraction. Why? Because the feminine isn't drawn to comfort. It's drawn to mystery, to risk, to the man she can't fully define or control. The moment you make yourself completely known, no boundaries, no spine, you don't become more lovable. You become invisible, disposable, replaceable. But here's the paradox that traps most men. You fear being alone more than you fear being fake. You'd rather lose yourself than lose her. You'd rather live as a character than face the terror of silence, of